is the Sharpeners Jam 2025 contest. We have this contest every year for the best idea, and this year's jam was extra special because we held it in beautiful Mexico. Happened to be on the same day that Bonnie and Jean celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. What a way to mark the occasion. We're surrounded by sunshine, scissors, and sharpeners. Now it's time for the online contest, and I have 7 great entries, both new and experienced sharpeners. So take a few minutes, watch all the videos, and vote for your favorite idea. Anyone can vote. Entries are going to be played in the order of length from shortest to longest, so you can get a quick look at each one. Let's see which tip rises to the top this year. Happy watching and happy sharpening.
Hi, I'm Ricky Page, and this was my idea for the Sharpeners Jam. It all came to me just out of nowhere, just in my mind. So, every time I would try to cut this, it kept moving. And it was irritating, so I saw these clips that we had, and I decided to put it on here, and now it won't go nowhere. Now I'll show you how it works. As you can see, no movement. Movement. So it helps a lot.
Hey, my name is Christopher Kellens, coming live at you from Puerto Morales. Well, we're here at the Sharpeners Jam, and Bonnie suggested that I enter my idea for the jam as a new idea. So what I thought about is while I'm polishing, I put, after a while, the pad gets matted down, going in the same direction. Usually what I do is I put it in reverse, so the left switches to the left hand, and then I spray it with the diamond spray, and then I use the compound to apply it going opposite of the usual direction, so it fluffs up the pad, and then I turn it back to being right, and I just get more action, and it just works better. So that is my idea.
Hi, my name's Phil. I'm from Van Line Sharpening Service here in Kennewick, Washington. And I got this idea one day when I was working in a salon, and I dropped the screw and it went under a chair. And I had to get down on my hands and knees and crawl under the chair to get that screw. Well, I'm always dropping stuff. Enter the GRABALATOR 6000. It was the 4000 in the first video, the 5000 in the second video, and now we've upgraded it to the 6000. Bought this at Harbor Freight for about $5. The magnet telescopes out, and you can grab your stuff and be on your way, and it keeps you up off the floor scrounging around for whatever little part you lost. Thank you.
Okay, my name's Jim Turner, Scissor Magic Company, Gaffney, South Carolina. This is just off of any detachable blade, and I don't know what brand this was. They found this one in the junk here. But normally, to set the tension on a clipper blade, you work here, tighten it here and here.
Yeah.
But sometimes on the wide blades you can't get the tension good enough. So to make it work for a wide blade, if it's not, you can't get the tension to go, come like this. And bend it here, come over to this one, and bend it here. Make sure that, look at them here and make sure they're in line. And make sure they're in line with each other. But that way you can get extra tension that you can't get by doing this. You actually bend in here. And you take and, so you put it in there like that. And that gives you a different way of adjusting that tension.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody else is doing that. They probably are. I've shown a few people over time, so it may have spread around, but who knows? Okay, my name's Jim Turner, Scissor Magic Company, Gaffney, South Carolina.
So you're going to show me how, your tip for the Sharpeners Jam is how to sharpen these dog nail trimmers, right?
Yeah, see, this one actually has got the little nail trimmer here and a little scissor up on the end.
Oh, okay.
It's got both. This one is...
that's more like what I've seen.
Yeah, that's the most common. But I just happen to have these. But, let's see. And this bit didn't come with that. This is my special bit that I tell everybody they need. I've used the daylight out of this bit. But that's an original Dremel product. That's a chainsaw bit. But these pliers right here, my uncle bought these back in the 70s. I'm still using them every day. Just add more in. Takes longer to plug it up than it does do that. That's the sharp. Excuse the mess. I hadn't had time to clean this one up.
Let's see if I can get up here a little bit. I can get a little bit better angle.
That's the little slow clipper hone when I do small jobs.
Yeah.
That's the 10-inch wheel off the Nebraska Blades machine. I blew the motor on there, so I got to get me a new motor for it. So I temporarily put that on here. It's unplugged. That's why it's unplugged. But anyway, I didn't pay new power. Red light, oh yeah. Here's how long this particular one here, they have bevel on both sides. This one is flat here, but bevel here is one side.
Yeah.
But see, you got a burr, there's a burr on there. On the flat side, I'll give you it too. Then this little scissor blade. Flip it over. I'm hoping I had a piece of the, this is pretty stiff plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm making that where I can get up in here with this part. And it's just cutting right through it. And
Looks like that's got it.
Yep, and so that's, I mean, that's fast money.
Okay, and that's a good idea for the Sharpeners Jam. Thank you.
And this is the...
This type. This is more what I've seen, this kind.
You're lucky I had these things in here. See what this one does. And that's working.
So you're just using that plastic. What would you normally test them on?
String trimmer line.
Oh, the trimmer.
I got some back in here somewhere.
Okay, that's a good tip right there.
Yep. String trimmer line works great.
Because I think one time you told us for one of your ideas we use the trimmer line for bumpers if you can't find bumpers,
Yeah.
right?
But the best thing I found for that is, and I gotta get those bumpers, you know.
I got them.
The little paintbrushes,
Yeah,
those,
I remember that idea you had.
that saved me a million times. I still got some down in there. And I've got to get some more of these. You know what this was?
Oh yeah, you got that's from me.
Yeah.
That's the DMT mini
I see those
pads.
down other places. I said, nope, I got one place I buy those. That's where I buy them all. Put that back in there.
Hi Bonnie, hi fellow sharpeners. My name is Todd Benko from Calgary, Alberta. My idea for this submission deals with trying to polish the convex, the outside edge of the convex shears after we've convexed them. I know Bonnie has often said she's had problems trying to find a really good way to polish them, and we've often seen many times that we're using Jeweler's Rouge, the 1 or 3 micron spray, that type of stuff. And I got to thinking, you know, the automotive industry or the metal polishing industry has made huge technological changes and advancements in how and what they use, like the types of polishing rouges, that type of stuff. They don't use that anymore because they found newer stuff that works just so much better and so much quicker. And that got me to thinking, I wonder if there's something that we could take from that industry and apply it to ours. And there was another knife sharpener that I've seen from doing Japanese knives where he, again, was doing different things and went to a polishing compound that was liquid. And that's what got me thinking about making a different approach. So I started scouring different manufacturers, and I came across this product. It is Chemical Guy's light metal polish. You often find Chemical Guys dealing with any of the, I want to say, commercial or non-commercial retail type car enthusiast who wants to turn around and polish their vehicle or polish some metal. And the Chemical Guys stuff, they actually make 2 different metal polishes. So if you're going to go this route and try this out, you got to remember that they have the metal polish and then there's the light metal polish. And I've been using the light metal polish because I think we are dealing with something that is already fairly fine. We're controlling our abrasives. And if we turn around and use the full metal one, I think it's a little bit too aggressive. And it really is used in places where they need to remove a lot of oxidation. In our situation, because we're already starting from a sanded condition, we just need the light metal polish. And that's what I've been trying out for this last little while. It's a light metal polish. I turn around and shake it up. It's nice liquid form. And in the automotive industry, what they often do is just use a microfiber cloth, spread it on the microfiber cloth or on a bonnet, and take their grinder to it for polishing up they can be stainless steel, it can be aluminum, steels, that type of stuff. The light metal polish, I think, works better for the stainless steel. And what they often do is, if you had just a bonnet on the polishing grinder or polishing wheel like that, they would just do typically 4 dabs over the surface and then they would be done. So that's the way that I've taken it. I've been using just a standard polishing pad that Bonnie has for my Simac, and I've been taking the same approach. I haven't really figured out what might be the best way because it is so liquid. What I've been doing is doing 3 or 4 little dabbits, and what I've been doing is spreading them out from inside to outside. And what that ends up doing, and I think that there's different approaches, and other people might want to try this. I know Wolf Industries, when they deal with their paste, they turn around and draw one all the way around and then start drawing lines in. And I think there is some validity to this, but I just haven't experienced it enough. And it's about trying to load up the pad with enough polishing compound at the beginning. So the thing about this stuff, because it is fairly liquid, if you end up putting too much on and you start spinning up, that stuff's just going to start spraying right off. So in this case, I think less is more. So you turn around, put it on, and spread it out to do the surface. And I'm doing different spans, both from the outside to the inside, because at any given time when I'm doing the shear, it's going to turn around and work different parts of the shear. So the whole idea is just put a couple of dabs on and then work it in. Once you've got that done, like I said, I just keep on putting new spots in, and you can see how the metal, as I've been doing polishing, has transferred to my my polishing pad. And I think this is, if I remember correctly, they're just wool polishing pads. But then turn around, put it back on my Simac, and now, like I said, less is probably more, because if I turn around and speed it up too much, and if I load it up too much, it would just start spraying things off. So in this case, just turn around, work it in so lightly, and then I turn around and deal with that, and it works up a beautiful shine to the outside edge. Now, one of the things that I've often seen, depending on what is the outside surface, is that because our wheel, our flat hone, is coming across at an angle, I have seen some linear scratches either still left in. And this is where I think the beautiful part about having something like this is, I can turn around and remember the dab that I put on my microfiber cloth. If I want to finish off and deal with the additional scratches, I can turn around and I'll just take and spread my little dab out here, because you don't really need it to be in that liquid state. So I've just turned around and got my little spot right there, and I'll take my shears as a last minute thing and take it and now work it longitudinally along the shear edge, so that it's now in a different direction than the original spinning of the flat hone. And as you can see, it really does remove the material. And it turns around, and when I'm doing this, it really ends up bringing up that great shine to the surface edge. See if I can. So that is my idea. And then when I'm turning around doing that, there is the question is it going to turn around and contaminate the edge that we started up and that type of stuff. And yes, there is the possibility. So as we look, we can see that some did get onto the inside edge. And all that I end up doing is just taking my microfiber cloth in the clean area, spray it down with alcohol, wipe it down again, do my full cleaning with alcohol on the shears, and it's good to go. So that's my idea to share with you on possible new way to polish and shine up our shears after we've sharpened up the convex outer surface. Thanks. Hey Bonnie, hi fellow sharpeners. Todd Benko here from Calgary, Alberta. Such a pleasure to be part of the Sharpeners Jam sessions, and looking forward to all the other ideas that come across the stage and through the different presentations. I've often had a situation where I'm working in a salon and I'm doing shears, and stylists will turn around and also bring in knives. So I've got my flat home. The situation is, how am I going to turn around and sharpen them? Well, I think the flat hone is an excellent tool for sharpening knives. And I love my Simek just for that reason, because I can turn around and use it both in the front position, but for sharpening knives, I needed to find a way to have a consistent angle. And I do have the Work Sharp tool that gives you a beautiful rest that you turn around and take your knife, you set it down on a known angle, and then you turn around and you work that. And I really like that system because, you know, with different knives, you want different angles, just like what we do with the shears, different angles for different knife purposes. So how do we maintain a consistent angle? Well, the answer to me was really obvious when I got my Work Sharp knife system, and that is that you get muscle memory of just remembering one angle. So on that one, you measure 0 degrees, and then you adjust the system, the belt, to give you the angle that you want. If you want 15 degrees, you set it for 15. If you want 25, 30 degrees, you set it to 25, 30 degrees. So I got to thinking, how do I take that approach and apply it to my Simek? I came up with a solution, and this is where my idea comes from. How do I bridge and make my flat hone a great knife sharpening system? There are 3 things that I needed. The idea is, let me first of all talk about what the problem was first. So if I turn around and put my Simek, so my Simek can turn around and I go into a vertical position, which is not a problem. And I turn around and take the blade back, and that's great. And I can turn around and still, you know, my arm and that type of stuff, I can still set it up on top. So I don't have to dismantle anything. I can still just leave everything in place for doing my knife sharpening. And the whole problem is that if I turn around and set my knife down here, I have to turn around and try to figure out what angle do I want to be at for my knife. And especially for the knife's purpose, that, you know, like if I'm going to do a paring knife, you know, I want to be somewhere around 15 degrees. Off the horizontal, not off the vertical, like the American standard is for the scissors. So how can I set that angle? And then it sort of dawned on me. It says, well, if I can turn around and be able to set my knife at a given fixed angle, I just have to tilt the Simek, my flat hone. And that came up with 2 great solutions for this. In many of the construction stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, that type of stuff, they have these wonderful devices. And that is a bag for lifting things up. And if you turn around and pump them up, they expand, and their whole purpose is to lift like windows, that type of stuff, up to a height that it'll hold the weight. They do hold a fair amount of weight to them, and it positions it exactly where you want it positioned so that you can control and do the height or work the material that is at the height that you want to work at. When you're done, just let the air out and it goes back down. So that was the first thing that I needed. And then what I do with that is I tuck it in underneath the bottom of my Simac. So once I've got it in there, everything is all still nice and flat. So that's the first part. The next part is I said, okay, how do I turn around and get a reference angle? And the idea sort of came to me is that with the other ones, what's my lowest angle? What's my minimum zero angle going to be? And that's typically going to be on like paring knives and that type of stuff. So these type of things, or fine Japanese knives. My lowest angle is typically going to be 15 degrees. So I need actually to make this 15 degrees. So taking the same approach from WorkSharp, sort of taking the idea, how do I make a surface? And I just turned around and came up with a block of wood. So with this guy here, I cut the angle at my minimum angle, so 15 degrees. And I turned around and created a little notch. I had to create a little notch in the bottom here so that my feet that are on the bottom, which is normally my position, I can turn around and put this down on my Simac here. And now you can see I have a resting spot that establishes my 15 degrees. So now I can turn around and lay my blade in, and eventually with time, what ends up happening is this becomes muscle memory. I turn around, take this angle. I only need to remember one angle. I have to develop muscle memory for only one angle, 15 degrees. I take that, take it up, and transfer it. So if I'm with my Simac like this, and depending on which side you're working on, you always want to make sure that it's going the right direction. So best is to feel it. I set my angle on my block. I'm at 15 degrees. I transfer it up. If I have a question of whether or not I'm still at the same angle, I can come back down. As long as I match up the same thing, I'm not tilted. It's my way of validating I'm still maintaining my same angle. So I might turn around and do that a couple of times. Now, one of the things is when I'm usually working this, I like to be standing. I like to work over top of my equipment, but it just makes it a little bit hard to showcase this in a video. So if I turn around and switch to my other one, I'll do a couple of those. Same approach. I just take my left hand, I'm still using my same situation, change my direction, set my angle. And a lot of times what I find is if I put my thumb along the spine, that angle here on the back of my thumb and my wrist is what I can really control as if my wrist is tilted or such. But by doing it this way, if I just grip it like this, I've got no reference as to what angle. But the minute you turn around and have something out like a thumb or some aspect, I can take that, bring that back up, and I've got my angle. And as long as I lock my whole arm, my whole wrist, I'm going to maintain that angle. And I'm going to do that as I work up through my different edges, my different grits to get me a burr. Once I've got my burr, then I turn around and either go to the finer grit and work my way up till it's done. So that's all said and done. That's for 15 degrees. So now the magic comes in. How do I get to something that might be more of a chef's knife that I want something like a 20 or 25 degrees? Well, this is the third piece of equipment that I had to turn around and find a solution for. And that is that came up and found these little electronic levelers. So if I turn around and put that on there, I'll look at that and it's basically 0 degrees. Doesn't matter what the number is because I just need it to be a reference. It's a relative. I could zero that out, but 0.4 is pretty close to 0. So let's say this knife, I now want at 25 degrees on each angle off of the horizontal. So it's 25 on this side, it's 25 on this side. Well, I just remember the pillow that I put underneath the backside? I turn around and pump that up now. Until I get to what angle? I want a 25 degrees. My initial starting angle of my block was 15. So I want to shoot for 10 degrees. And I went a little too far. So I just lower that back down. And the thing about this block is I have this set up where it's magnetically attached to the side. But the key to it is this goes on the base of my workbench. So now this is always my workbench. The angle here is relative to the starting point. And if I showcase this again, see if I can tilt this around so you can see. Just need a little bit more angle here. And what I did here is I actually took a magnet out of a hard drive and I epoxied into the side here so that I can turn around and actually hold it in place. I push it down and now it's parallel to the table. This is still my 15 degrees plus my 10 degree tilt gives me 25 degrees. And I'm still at 10.2. So again, I'm doing the same thing. Nothing has changed for my approach, for my muscle memory. I'm still setting 15 degrees for holding the blade. When I bring it up to the surface of the flat hone, I'm now at 25 degree angle. And it's just so much easier because my mechanics, once you get to repeating it over and over and over, nothing changes for you. The whole thing is make the equipment change to what you're trying to achieve, rather than you changing everything and you're never getting anything consistent. So in this situation, again, make sure that it's going away from you. If I'm going to do from my right hand, I set my 15 degrees here. I've got my 10 degrees extra, so I'm at 25 degrees, and I can go ahead and if I have any question whether or not I'm maintaining the same angle, I'll just come back down and validate. Yep, I'm still there. I'm still at my same angles. My wrist has not changed. I locked it in place. I'd be searching for my burr that I want at that side, or I'm just going to do a certain number on one side, do a certain number on the other side. So if I want to do my other side, I'm going to stop it, get it going the other way. Again, lock my wrist in, bring it back up. Feel my burr, see where I've got my burr coming up, and then I can turn around and do the other side. Always make the habit touching the surface, make sure it's going in the right direction before you put your knife on the edge. it becomes such an easy way to do it because you're only remembering one muscle angle. The other thing that I really like about the Cymac for this is that my guard still stays in place. If I'm working in the salon and, knives, we might end up pulling a lot more metal off doing a knife than we will doing a set of shears. So the chances are of spreading more metal into the air, into the area, that type of stuff. I still want to try to keep it contained. I'm not spreading it all over the place. So as you can see, my guard still stays in place. It's all around. As I'm working this, my filings are still being captured in the cage of the Cymac. I don't have to actually take it right off. So I find that this is a great solution and gives me one piece of equipment that now provides me the ability to sharpen two sets of equipment, knives and shears, to a high quality level. And it doesn't matter because I can turn around, and if I've got something that's, a really fine edge, I can adjust my situation. If I want to go back to my, another paring knife, well, it's just as simple as that. I have to come back and reset, lower my bottom edge. That magnet does hold on to there quite well. And I just make sure it's flattened back down, get my 15 degrees, and I'm back again. If I'm changing my my sandpaper, I'm going from, it might be a really bad system of 100, 200, 220 grit, and then I'm going up to 400, 800, 1,000, 2,000 if I really want to get a polished edge. So it really allows me the flexibility of and adapting to give whatever surface, whatever edge I need. And like I said, I find it's a lot easier when I'm doing this to be standing, but I just am showcasing this sitting so that it's a lot easier for you to see both sides, and I'm not changing the whole scale of relative to where I am. So that's my idea, what I've been finding and what my ideas that I care to share with you. Again, the 3 items that I did to this, and just another thought just came to mind. I turned around and sharpened a knife, and I got my 3 items here, and just like that, quickly turn around. Another stylist comes up with another set of shears, and I'm back to doing shears. I just love this thing for this. So my 3 things that I ended up getting to adapt this was this windbag, pump it up, construction pillow, the various, this is called a Wixie digital angle gauge, and these ones, like the windbag I got at Home Depot, the Wixie I got at Busy Bee Tools, and then my 15 degree, I set my 15 degrees because that's what my lowest angle is going to be, and I just put it on a block of wood, embedded a magnet in here, and it just sticks to my side of my Cymac. And like I said, I just moved this out of the way. All it's doing is just holding on there, and I just fold it down and put the base back down onto my table. That's how I get my reference angle. So that's my idea. I hope you like it. I hope it may give you an idea or consideration how you might use it if you want to sharpen knives with your flat hone. Thanks again.